when I rebranded from Retro Gaming Tube 85 to RGT 85, the main reason I did that was because I wanted to be able to talk about modern games too. I own a PS4, I own a Nintendo Switch, so I like to be able to talk about those things. Now, obviously, I talk more about the Nintendo Switch than the PS4, but that's just because that's the platform I'm mostly playing on nowadays. I do, play Friday the 13th way too much on the PS4, and I probably have an addiction to it, and I probably need help, but that's besides the point. The Nintendo Switch is the focus of this video, and now we are in July at the time of the filming of this video, and the system has been out since March. So I thought it would be fun to look at some upcoming Nintendo Switch games, 15 of them to be exact, plus 3 honorable mentions that are games I'm really interested in. I'm either gonna buy them day one or buy them sometime this year. So that's a lot of money. So I thought it would be fun to look at the best of the best, in my opinion, that is coming to the Nintendo Switch in the rest of 2017. So sit back, relax, subscribe, grab a drink, and let's talk about the best 15 upcoming games for the Nintendo Switch. The first game we're going to talk about is Splatoon 2. Now, depending on when you watch this video, this game may have already been released, but Splatoon 2 is an interesting game to me. I actually reviewed the original Splatoon over on Nintendo Enthusiast, and I didn't love the game, but I liked it. I believe I gave it a 7 or a 7.5, and that was primarily because of a real lack of content. There was only 5 maps available at the launch of the original Splatoon, and, the single player wasn't very engaging or whatnot. It was more of just like a tutorial on how to play the online. So with only 5 maps, it got pretty old pretty quick. But Nintendo did a great job of releasing more content for that game for free, and the end product was completely different than the start product. So it was really interesting to see how Nintendo did that. Now, with Splatoon 2, they've definitely beefed it up on all aspects. There's a ton of more maps, there's new weapons, the graphics have really been upgraded. A lot of people felt that the game looked too similar to the first one, but when you actually put them side by side, you could see that 1080p 60 frames per second difference. So I'm really liking what I'm seeing, and I think they sort of refined the gameplay a little bit. When I played the global splat test, I felt the game was a touch slower than the original, and I liked that. It allowed me to be more strategic. It looks like they've really fleshed out the single player and made it something actually worth playing. You're trying to figure out what happened to Callie, I believe, as she's been kidnapped, and they've even included new game modes like the salmon run thing, which is essentially a horde mode for the game. And much like the original Splatoon, they are going to be adding more content for free throughout the life cycle of the game. So Splatoon 2 is going to be a really good package. I think it's going to be a really fun game, and it pretty much rights the wrongs of the first game by releasing with a great bit of content and then more free content down the road. So Splatoon 2, definitely a game to look out for in 2017. The next game I want to talk about is a Sonic game, and no, it's not Sonic Forces, because I'm kind of on the fence about that game. Been reading some bad things. Doesn't look that good. No, I'm talking about Sonic Mania, which is obviously a love letter to the Sonic games that we all grew up on. If you're my age, those Sonic games, Sonic 1 through Sonic and Knuckles, were amazing games. They were so much fun, great graphics, great sound, fast gameplay, and they really resonate with people. And it's great to see them try to go back to that original style, and I mean original style. This looks like a game maybe not running on the Genesis, maybe running on the 32X or the Saturn, because there is some interesting parallax scrolling and some techniques that I think the Genesis wouldn't be able to put out. But Sonic Mania looks awesome. It's definitely a throwback game. It's not, a full retail game. It's a pretty cheap game. I think it's going to be $20. So I'm really looking forward to that game. It's going to be a game that I'm going to play over and over again. I'm sure the music's going to be great. It already looks phenomenal. So that's definitely one of my most anticipated games of 2017. That is a day one purchase for me. Sonic Mania, baby. Can't wait for that one. Next up is a game that I didn't really have on my radar, but now I do, and that is the Namco Museum thing. Obviously, the Nintendo Switch is tapping into a bit of nostalgia. There's a lot of retro-inspired games. You've had Blaster Master Zero. You've had, the Neo Geo games. on the Nintendo eShop. So they are tapping into this nostalgia thing, and Namco Museum looks really good. It has Splatterhouse, the arcade version of Splatterhouse, which is amazing to me because I love that game. It's got all sorts of different, you know, Namco arcade games from throughout the years, but what I really like about it is how you can use the Switch vertically, and you could, you know, play games vertically with your Nintendo Switch. So that's actually the first way that that's been done so far by a developer. There's going to be the Pac-Man Versus thing, which was like an experiment that they did with Pac-Man back in the day. There's a lot of single card play with this system as well. A lot of the games, I believe most of them, if not all, that support multiplayer can be played with a single game card and local multiplayer. So that's super cool too. I like all the little goodies they've put into it. I like the borders that they have on it. It's a really good package, and I hope more companies sort of follow suit in this. You know, I'd like to see stuff from Data East and Taito and whatnot, because I really like these sort of packages. It's nice to have everything on one single cartridge, and I really think Namco Museum is going to be a lot of fun, so that's definitely a game I'm looking forward to. The fourth game I want to talk about is a game that I wasn't really interested in when it was first leaked. I thought it sounded really stupid, and I wanted nothing to do with it. But when they showed it at E3, I was like, okay, you somehow made this work, Ubisoft and Nintendo. You somehow made this work, and that would be Mario plus Rabbids Kingdom Battle. Now, this is an interesting take on a Mario game. You know, it definitely seems a bit more tongue-in-cheek. It definitely seems like a bit more of an adult humor sort of thing. And the gameplay is a lot like, you know, a simplified XCOM. You know, it's a strategic game, which Mario has never really been in. He's been in RPGs, but never any strategy RPGs, you know, on a grid-based system. So I think the game looks really cool. The humor looks pretty good. The graphics look really good. It's very interesting to see, you know, how Ubisoft took the graphics and, you know, made a Nintendo-style game with their own sort of flair. And I think it's a really good-looking game. I think it's going to surprise a lot of people. When it was first announced, you know, people were like, ugh, but now the gaming world is pretty much into this game. I am a part of the gaming world, and I am with them on this. I love the way this game looks, and I cannot wait to get my hands on it. The fifth game I want to talk about is a Nintendo Wii U port. Now, a lot of people are kind of salty on Wii U ports. Me personally, I don't care. I'm not being forced to buy them. I don't think anyone is forcing you to ever buy a game. If you are in a position where you're being forced to buy a game, seek help. Seek help, because that's not normal. But the game is Pokken Tournament DX, or as Bill Trinan would say, Pokken Tournament. If you've never heard him say that, watch when he ever talks about Pokken Tournament. That's the way he says it, and it'll be stuck in your head forever. But anyways, Pokken Tournament DX looks really good. I never picked up the original Pokken Tournament, although it did interest me. I played the demo. I thought the demo was pretty fun, but I just never got around to buying it. Now, with added characters, with beefed up graphics and stuff, I think this game looks really fun. You know, I'm not the hugest Pokemon fan. I definitely was a fan back in the day, but, you know, I think the last Pokemon game I really loved was like Pokemon Snap. But I think this game looks really good. The fighting mechanics look really solid. It looks like a really solid and fun game. It got great reviews on the Wii U. So the Nintendo Switch version with additional content, with additional characters, with beefed up graphics, and hopefully better online play, it seems like a no-brainer to me. So it's definitely a game I'm looking forward to, and a good game of 2017 for the Nintendo Switch. One of the games I sunk the most time into on the Nintendo Wii U was Hyrule Warriors, which really surprised me because I didn't think I would really like it. But I ended up loving it. It was such a fun game. It was such just a pick up and play game, but the gameplay was so solid and so refined. You know, I have played Dynasty Warriors games before, but I never really got into it like I did with Hyrule Warriors. And Fire Emblem Warriors is a game that's coming out this fall for the Nintendo Switch that really has my attention. I love how they've taken that, you know, that gameplay, and they've added the Fire Emblem characters to it. The graphics look pretty much, you know, they look better than the Wii U version of Hyrule Warriors. You know, when you're watching gameplay videos of it, everything looks more defined, everything looks crisper, environments look more vibrant and bigger. And it's just a game that I think is going to be a lot of fun. You know, people say that the Fire Emblem franchise doesn't quite hold the weight of a franchise like a Zelda or a Mario, but that's quickly changing. You know, Fire Emblem games are selling really well. And the fact that you'll be able to play this game portably with the Nintendo Switch, yes, there is a new 3DS version, but come on, the Nintendo Switch version is the version to get. It's another exclusive for the system. It is another game that I think is yet another must-own of 2017. Fire Emblem Warriors, I'm all in. Let's go. I wish it came out tomorrow. The next game I want to talk about is a series that I have a very love-hate relationship with. You may have remembered me doing a video on why does Bethesda get a pass with all of these buggy games that they always release. And I made that video, but I don't hate Bethesda. I think their games are pretty solid. I just wish they were more refined and there wasn't as many bugs and there wasn't as many glitches and you didn't need so many DLC patches. But I was a huge fan of Oblivion on the Xbox 360. I played that game a ton. Tons of hours were put into that game. I never got a chance to play Skyrim though. I actually own it on the PS3, but the way my lifestyle works is it's very hard for me to play a console RPG or an open world game like that. Zelda aside, because I made time for Zelda. But, you know, life is always moving. Life is always going places. So The Elder Scrolls Skyrim for the Nintendo Switch is a game I'm actually looking forward to simply because of the portability aspect. I think it's going to be amazing to be able to play that game on the go. The motion controls look fine. The Zelda stuff added in is super awesome. I love seeing the, you know, the Hyrule sword and the Hyrule shield in the game. I think that's really awesome. And, you know, the skin, you know, he's got the Breath of the Wild outfit. There could be more Zelda stuff in the game as well. But I think they've done a good job of convincing Nintendo owners to, at the very least, check out the game because now I'm interested in it. You know, I bought Skyrim for like $5 or $6 on the PS3, but time is just a factor in my life, and I don't have time to just sit down in front of my TV and play this game for hundreds of hours. But if I could bring the system with me, if I could bring it on the go, that really opens up the world of Skyrim to me. So I'm looking forward to Skyrim. I think that's going to end up being a day one purchase for me because I want to experience the game. I just hope that there's, you know, no major technical issues, and I hope the graphics are solid. I don't want a graphically, you know, just like the PS3 port with the Zelda stuff added. Don't do that. Put time and effort into the game, and I think that Bethesda has been doing that as they've been working closely with Nintendo on this game. So Skyrim, you're on my radar. The 8th game we're going to talk about is a game that I still think is going to come out in 2017. Nintendo swears up and down, oh, it's coming out in 2017. It's coming out in 2017. But I don't think it is. But just in case it does come out in 2017, Xenoblade Chronicles 2. This game looks outstanding. Now, I was a fan of the original Xenoblade Chronicles. I was a fan of Xenoblade Chronicles X on the Wii U. That's actually a game I feel would do really well with a port. But Xenoblade Chronicles X sort of lacked the heart of Xenoblade Chronicles. You know, it was a bit more open world, and the story just never really felt as fleshed out as the original game. And they've sort of gone back to that more traditional RPG style. There's still open world segments. I believe every beast that you're on is essentially an open world, but it's a more, you know, brought together open world, I guess is the word I'm looking for. So Xenoblade Chronicles 2, I think it looks really good. The battle system in Xenoblade Chronicles is amazing. I love it. It's very fresh. It always keeps you on your toes. You know, it's very good. It's very action-orientated, which I love to see in RPG games. And I think the game looks phenomenal. It looks great. It sounds great. Everything that we've seen so far from Xenoblade Chronicles 2 is very impressive. And I honestly, truly hope it does come out this year, because it would be a fantastic, yet another fantastic exclusive on the Nintendo Switch that you can't get anywhere else. You know, it'll definitely satisfy a lot of people. It'll definitely satisfy me and would definitely be a day one purchase, but I just hope it comes out this year. Games 9 and 10 I'm going to lump together, and we're going to talk about them together essentially because they're kind of cut from the same cloth. And these are two third-party games that are coming to the Nintendo Switch. The first game we're going to talk about is NBA 2K18. Now, if you've ever watched a live stream with me, if you know anything about me, you know there are two games, two genres that I'm graphic whores in. I need to play them on my PS4. I need the best graphics, and that would be basketball games and simulation racing games. That's just how I am. You know, I'm a big basketball fan, but 2K18 is luring me because at the same time, I'm a fan of portable basketball games. I bought literally every portable basketball game that used to come out on the PSP. All of them, because I just love basketball. I love watching it. I love the NBA, and I am very interested in playing it with my new Charlotte Hornets on the go in NBA 2K18. You know, they haven't shown a lot from the game, and that kind of worries me. I get the portability aspect. It'll be awesome to be blocking shots with Dwight Howard while, you know, cutting through the paint with Kemba Walker, but I need to see good graphics. I don't, much like, you know, the Elder Scrolls situation, I don't want this to be a simple cut and paste portable version of like the PS3 version. there needs to be, you know, a graphical leap between the PS3, Switch, and PS4. I want to see like a middle. I understand it's not going to look as good as the PS4. I'm willing to accept that as long as there's effort put into it. So NBA 2K18, definitely a game on my radar. Now the next game, I don't really care about the graphics in. It is yet another sports title, and that is FIFA 18. Now, you might not think this, but I actually played soccer when I was in middle school, and for some reason, I have loved soccer video games for as long as I can remember. Sega Worldwide Soccer 98, International Superstar Soccer on the N64, all the FIFA and soccer games that used to come out on the DS. I bought them all. I just love playing soccer games for some reason. I don't like watching the sport. I sure as hell don't like playing the sport anymore because of all the running, and my lungs are terrible. I need a cigarette after 2 minutes. But good Lord, I love playing, you know, sports games and soccer games, I mean. And FIFA 18 looks pretty good. You know, one of our guys got to play it at E3 2017 this year, which is the footage I'm using for this from Nintendo Enthusiast, and I was pleased with what I saw. So FIFA is a definite on the Switch. NBA 2K18, please put the effort in. That is all I'm asking of you. Please put that effort in and you'll have a sale. If not, I'm buying it on the PS4. The next 4 titles we're going to talk about are all considered indie games. Now, indie games, it's not a AAA game. I can't play an indie game. Shut up. Shut up. I hate that mindset. That mindset just, it drives me nuts. Like, it's so just closed-minded and stuff. Like, Shovel Knight is an indie game. Everyone loves Shovel Knight, but it's like, if it's an indie game not named Shovel Knight, you know, technically Shenmue 3 is an indie game too, so put that in your pipe and smoke it. But these 4 games are games that are coming to the Nintendo Switch in 2017 that are independent titles. The first one, of course, is Rocket League, a surprise announcement. I think Rocket League is going to sell very well on the platform because of the portability aspect. This is the first time that Rocket League, much like Skyrim, has been portable, and that's really going to help sales of this game. Rocket League is a super fun game to begin with. The cross-platform play with Microsoft and PC owners is just another incentive to pick up the Switch version because you could bring that wherever you go. Like, even if you own an Xbox One and you own the game, it's worth owning on the Switch as well because you could play it on the go. It's one of those games that you could justify a double dip on. So Rocket League looks really good, and it's a game I'm really looking forward to. Nintendo seems to have pretty much forgotten about Advance Wars and Battalion Wars too. I miss both of those series, but Advance Wars obviously was the more popular series and the better series. Well, an indie game called Wargroove is coming in, and it's essentially Advance Wars, and it looks great. I think it looks awesome. It definitely has that Game Boy Advance style of aesthetics. You know, the graphics a little bit more refined, a little bit better, but I think the game looks phenomenal. It's definitely going to be a very fun pick up and play game. It's got that strategy element to it that made Advance Wars so addictive and so much fun. So definitely a game that's on my radar. One of my more anticipated games. I won't say most, but I'll say it's a more anticipated title because I was such a huge fan of Advance Wars. Even the Dual Strike one on the DS, that was a great game. So I'm definitely looking forward to Wargroove, and I think it's going to be a really fun game. The next 2 indie games are more mature titles. You know, people say that there aren't mature titles on Nintendo platforms, but these games are definitely mature style games. The first one I want to talk about is State of Mind. I really don't know a whole hell of a lot about this game. I've seen a little bit of gameplay, and I've seen the trailer for the game, but it looks like a, you know, a cyberpunk sort of Deus Ex game, and I really like the aesthetics. The voice acting on it sounds really good too, and I'm really interested in seeing when this game comes to the Nintendo Switch. It's a game that a lot of people aren't talking about. It might even be a game that you're not familiar with that's coming to the platform, but I think it's a really cool looking game. I want to learn more about it. I want to know, you know, pretty much everything there is to know about it, and it is scheduled for a 2017 release, so that is super cool. And the second more mature style game is Payday 2. Now let me tell you about Payday. On the PS3, Payday, aside from Metal Gear Solid 4 and the Metal Gear Online, Payday was one of my most played games. I was obsessed with that game, and for some reason I never checked out Payday 2. I don't really know why, but now that it's coming to the Nintendo Switch, which is the platform I prefer to play on, now that it has portability on it, I am on board with this. I want to see what they're bringing to the table. I hope that there's some exclusive modes for Switch owners because let's face it, Payday 2 is an older game. It's been out for several years now. I want to see good graphics, I want to see good gameplay, and more importantly, I want to see some Switch exclusive modes in it. But even if there isn't that, I will probably still pick up Payday 2 because I was such a big fan of the first game and just I never got around to playing the second game. So really looking forward to that. Before we get into the last game, I do want to do a couple honorable mentions that for whatever reason just didn't make the cut. I'll give a little reason. The first game is Rime. I think Rime looks really good. I don't like how they've been saying that there's been some struggles porting it to the Nintendo Switch when initially it was like no problem. I don't like how delayed it is compared to the other versions of the game. You know, the PS4 version is probably going to be like $10 by the time the Switch version releases, but maybe the portability aspect will make up for it. It does look like a really fun game, but it's just not good enough to make my list. Another game I want to talk about is Pocket Fighter. Really good game, really good looking game. It looks like a Neo Geo Pocket style fighting game. 2D fighter, I love 2D fighters, and you know, it's a game I'm looking forward to. It was supposed to come out in March according to the Nindie Direct that they did for the Nintendo Switch, and it's pretty much just disappeared, so I didn't want to put it on this list because it seems like it's been delayed or something, so I'm going to hold off on talking about that a little bit more, but it does look like a game that I'll really enjoy. And the third game, it's not really a game, it's more of a company. It's just Nicalis. Nicalis is releasing so many games at the physical level for the Nintendo Switch, and it really makes sense. You know, they've already done Cave Story, they've already done The Binding of Isaac. There's a 2D fighter that they are working on that the name escapes me. It's coming to the PS4, Steam, and the Nintendo Switch. It looks like a Dreamcast 2D fighter. It looks so good, and that's getting a physical release. They've also announced a physical release for It'll Do 2. Nicalis, great company. You guys are doing great work, and I'm really looking forward to whatever projects you have coming out this year. So now it's time for game number 15. That's right, folks, we are almost at the end of this list, and if you have been paying attention to this list, it should be very obvious what this game is. Super Mario Odyssey! Where have you been? Like, what are you doing? Take a checklist and be like, oh, you didn't say Super Mario Odyssey, this video sucks, dislike. No, of course I'm going to save Super Mario Odyssey for the end, because arguably it's going to be the biggest game of 2017. Yes, I am putting Zelda in the mix with that. Super Mario Odyssey is bigger. Mario is always bigger than Zelda in terms of sales, in terms of, you know, outreach with the common folk, in terms of just game scope. While Zelda games may be better, you know, that's subjective. A lot of Mario games, in my opinion, are better than Zelda games, and there are Zelda games that are better than Mario games, but at the end of the day, you're getting a new Zelda game that is Breath of the Wild that we've all been playing, and you're getting a new mainline Mario game with Super Mario Odyssey, which really just looks to take that, you know, Super Mario 64, that Super Mario 3D World style, or Galaxy style, excuse me, and just really ramp it up to 11. You know, I love the new Donk City. I think that looks amazing. I love all the different festive levels, and just it just looks like such a highly polished game. The hat mechanic, you guys know I'm a big hat mechanic person. There's actually a hat mechanic in RGT 85, the video game, where you throw your hat to kill enemies. Well, now it looks like Nintendo stole this. I'm gonna give them a pass. I'm gonna give them a pass on this. I understand you can control whatever with Cappy, and I just think Super Mario Odyssey is the game of 2017. And that's not just on the Switch, that's in general. I mean, this is going to be the biggest game of the year, and it looks like it's going to definitely be up to the task of being game of the year 2017. So Super Mario Odyssey, number 15. All right, and those are 15 of the best upcoming Nintendo Switch games of 2017. Yes, every single one of those games that I just talked about and showed you is scheduled to release this year. So the next time somebody says, the Nintendo Switch doesn't have any games, just be like, show them this video. Be like, what's up? This is from July to December. We've already had March to July. No, this is just July to December. July to December. 15 must-have games, 3 honorable mentions, plus there's games I missed, because you're going to let me know in the comments section what games I missed. There's all of those, there's that RPG from THQ that looks really dope too. I forgot to mention that. I don't remember the name of it though, so that's why I didn't make the list. Anyways, let me know what you think about these 15 games, plus the 3 honorable mentions. Let me know if you plan on picking up any of these games. Let me know what games you would have put on my list if you were making the list, and then it wouldn't be my list, it'd be your list. I'm rambling, it's kind of hot in here, but thank you for watching this video. Make sure you hit that like button, make sure you subscribe, and like I said, leave me a comment down below. Let me know what you think about everything. This is one of the most ambitious projects I ever done, probably the longest video on the channel, but I had fun making it, so I will catch you guys next time. Thank you for watching, thank you for sticking around till the end. Later.
RGT 85. RGT 85. RGT 85.